The third edition of the Peace Day Mastermind. So thank you everyone for joining us today, and for those that are joining us online after the fact. So we'll start off as we always begin here with the way that Andrew Carnegie used to open up his own mastermind. So we'll read it with, I release. I release myself to the mastermind because I'm strong when I have others to help me. I believe. I believe the combined intelligence of the mastermind creates a wisdom far beyond my own. I understand. I understand that I will more easily create positive results in my life when I'm open to looking at myself, my problems, and opportunities from another's point of view. I decide. I decide to release my desires totally and entrust to the mastermind, and I'm open to accepting new possibilities. I forgive. I forgive myself for my mistakes I have made. I also forgive others who have hurt me in the past so I can move into the future with a clean slate. I ask. I ask the mastermind to hear what I really want, my goals, my dreams, and my desires. And I hear my mastermind partners supporting me in my full fulfillment. I accept. I know, relax, and accept, believing that the working power of the mastermind will respond to my every need. I am grateful knowing this is so. So we'll now move into the second round, the round of gratitude. So the mastermind partners will each say one thing that they are grateful for. So who would like to begin? Let's start off with Michelle.
I'm grateful that my legs are killing me. It means that I use them, and it means that I'm stronger.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Michelle, and thank you for joining us today. Ben?
Thank you. Right now I'm grateful for the smell of roasted coffee in the air, which I love the smell of.
Beautiful. Love it. Yes, it is. They actually do say something that it actually is good for the immune system, just the smell of it. So there you go. You're helping your immune system as you enjoy the smells of it. Perfect. And then I believe, is that John?
Hey, yes.
All right, John.
Hey, I am thankful for good support. I have a good support team at work, and it's something that I have needed. So I'm very happy for it and thankful for it.
Perfect. And Lauren, would you also like to say what you're grateful for? Or are you kind of behind the scenes there?
No, I'm happy to. I'm very thankful. I'm thankful for people in my community, especially neighbors who recognize needs and humbly reach out to assist others, even when there's nothing in it for themselves.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. I love that. And I have to say, I am grateful for arriving here 15 minutes ago in Portland, Oregon, in time just to be able to find out how I can access this through my iPad today, and just for this amazing view that's in front of me here. And I'll just real quickly kind of shift it around here and just give a quick view of what I'm looking at. So it's just a beautiful view. So I am grateful for that and grateful to be here today. So all right, well we'll start off with of everyone getting 7 minutes. So Michelle is this is an opportunity for you.
Actually, John wanted to go first if he may, because John has to leave early. So.
Oh, okay, perfect, no problem. Well then, John, let's begin with you.
Great. Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to do that. I appreciate the group's flexibility with that.
Yeah, no problem. And yes or no on I saw that you were 50% on today's SMART goal?
Right, yeah. So about 50% on my SMART goal. So I have identified, I think, which piece, which is what my SMART goal was for last week, was to identify whether or not it would be more workable for me to focus my energy on pragmatic peace during Peace Day or peace in relationship to Earth. And I kind of fleshed it out a little bit, and I think I could do both, but I think I can offer more to pragmatic peace because I think I've just got more resources in that area. And so I'll elaborate on that in a second. But the other 50% of the SMART goal, which I did not complete, which I would like to make a SMART goal for next time for that, is to get feedback from youth on what they would like to see in a Peace Day event. And one of the things that I have been able to draw from a little bit, and I need to go back and go through the entries is that the Mediation Center did a Draw Your Peace event here in Asheville for youth, where kids would submit entries, submit art entries to the Mediation Center, and the subject was, what does peace look like to you? And so they put them all on Facebook, and I think there are descriptions of what peace looks like to each kid, which could be something that we could draw from in looking at what we would like, in how we might involve youth for Peace Day. And maybe one thing that I can do is to figure out a way to make that accessible to the group somehow. I'm no longer with the Mediation Center, but I think I can find a link for the Facebook entries. And so there was that, and I'd like to make that my SMART goal for next time. The reaching out to youth to see what they would like to see in a Peace Day. And so I don't really have a question or a comment. I know we talked a little bit last time about some of the things that, some options for what Peace Day might look like. And I think more of that discussion will kind of help as far as what kind of things I could offer. I typed up a little memo of what things I could do, and I think there are, I've got friends who are life coaches and who might be willing to sit down with patrons or people who come to the event and map out like a personal map for peace for their lives. Or let me see what else I wrote down. There are folks that do mediation in the community and work on a local at peace on a local level, and so we could ask them to come and provide resources on conflict resolution and effective communication, or maybe they could provide a booth where people could get together in pairs and practice reflective listening. What it is actually like to listen to someone and have them ask you questions, and to be asked questions, and then how to ask questions and make someone feel, make both parties feel like they're really being listened to. And then, certainly reaching out to youth and other organizations in other different communities to provide info about how they work towards peace in communities. And I was thinking local groups like our Latino Advocacy Coalition, or our Boys and Girls Clubs, or any other groups that work with different populations to talk about how they talk about peace. And so those were kind of some of the ideas I had, as well as one more, talking with youth and workers about how they have experienced being judged in the community, and what they would have liked to see done differently so that they felt more listened to or more included in conversations that they had. I don't really have a concrete on that yet, but those are a few things. I guess I just wanted to pose those to the group.
Okay, so those are more of your pragmatic approaches to what it is that we're essentially focusing in for our event.
Yeah, just I would say so, and those are things that can happen at a local level. How can you affect peace within your community? And these are kind of ways that peace can pragmatically spread, I believe.
Okay. All right.
John,
and so
quick question.
Go ahead.
Awesome. John, Michelle and I came up with the idea that here in Asheville, we're going to have the event at the Asheville Art Museum at 11:30 on Sunday, September 21st. One of the things I'm curious about is, in your new job on Facebook, it has it listed as a school, and I'm curious if students of the school would, if you think that there might be a possibility for students at your school to have one of those 3-minute slots for a 3-minute or less presentation around peace. Might that feel appropriate?
Well, so that shows me that I need to update my Facebook page. That school is actually the school that I taught at in South Korea. So, yeah, I need to do some updating on that. But okay. I think that's something we could roll into, though. If so what my job is right now, I manage a statewide nonprofit that does community service and restitution for juvenile courts across North Carolina. And one of the things that we could do is we could see if there are youth who would be willing to take one of those 3-minute slots and talk about the things that you had mentioned. You know, talk about peace and maybe their experiences at school. You know, when they've seen peace at school, or what it's been like for them to be bullied or judged, and what they might like to see differently.
Okay. Perfect. And so, John, I mean, as far as the pragmatic approach and the things that you're working on right now, it appears as though, you know, there's really a whole focus around connecting people and bringing the youth in. So, you know, one of the things that I was looking at and talking about as part of the overall goal of accomplishing the steps of what we need to do, you know, we're looking at how can we bring our best skill set, our best unique talents to this equation to make sure that this is the most effective use of, you know, our skill sets. So as it looks in that regard, you know, are you going to be the kind of connector of bringing these things, or what are the things that you would like as moving forward as we advance towards the date here? What exactly are you looking at saying that, man, you'd really like to participate with, and how you can contribute here?
You know, like you mentioned, I'd like to be a connector.
Right.
I think I could definitely connect those resources.
Okay.
And you know, yeah, however that needs to happen, and if we need to also, you know, do some planning, anything that kind of comes with working with local organizations or agencies to help tie them into this, I would like to do.
Okay, wonderful, great. Thank you. I think that's right about our time. So, John, what would you like to commit to as your SMART goal? Because I know that you need to leave a little early today.
Yes, thank you. And actually, I probably need to do that right after my SMART goal.
Yep.
So I would like to commit to following through with what I committed to last week, which is, or the last couple weeks, is to access, to talk to youth about how they might like for a peace day to look, and then also maybe to figure out or begin priming youth who might be more interested in participating more fully, to see if they would be willing to prepare something, just to kind of start all the groundwork for that, and kind of lay that there. And then also coming up with a list of agencies that it may benefit for us to connect with moving forward with Peace Day, that are in the Asheville and Hendersonville area, and kind of just in the western North Carolina area.
Okay, and this doesn't necessarily need to happen by next week, but also just kind of something to keep in mind is maybe the number of people that you would like to have, the number of kids that you'd like to invite, and because knowing that, hey, we can go out there and reach a certain number, there's going to obviously be some people that will say that they commit to it and just might not be able to make it on the day of, and so what would be the ideal amount for that particular day? So again, you don't necessarily need to answer that between now and then, but just have that as something to consider as we look more at the specific, measurable, attainable, rewarding, and time-based aspect of SMART.
Okay, yeah, that would be fantastic. I can definitely commit to that.
All right, wonderful. Well, thank you, John, and please feel free to join in later on as you want to listen to the rest of everything. But thank you for joining us today.
Well done. Yeah, thank you guys, and peace on us for sure.
Peace on us. Fantastic. All right. Well, Michelle, here we go. We'll shift over to Michelle now. Michelle, yes or no on the SMART goal from last week?
I believe I completed my SMART goal. My SMART goal has been for the last 2 times is to find that fertile audience, find people that are interested in celebrating, and extend those invitations and that excitement in the community here, and to see what else or who else we can involve in this, and make it as widespread as possible.
Okay.
So Ben and I have spent the last couple weeks meeting with a lot of different people in the area to see who would be interested in an event locally, and the people that would be at the event locally would be allowed to, or not allowed to, but invited to join in for the online event that we'll all be taking part in. So we've gotten in touch with some artists. We've gotten in touch with the artist in Asheville who continues to be voted #1 artist, whatever that means. But to do a live painting event.
Okay.
He could possibly donate 25% of the painting that he does. When they auction it off, we could ask for 25% of the proceeds to donate to the pot. We've also gotten in touch with somebody who runs a nonprofit. You had a question?
Oh yeah, I was going to say, where are the proceeds going to be going to?
Whatever we decide.
Wherever we decide. Okay.
Yeah, nothing's set in stone. We're just.
Okay.
I'm just garnering excitement and.
But later on. Okay. Perfect. Okay.
So no. I haven't offered anything to anybody.
Okay. Cool. I just wanted to double check.
No. No, I'm just trying to find people that would be excited.
Mm-hmm.
Once we get it more fleshed out and and quantified, I want to get in touch with the student body president at UNCA and see what avenues we can take from there, as well as one of the professors in Chapel Hill. So we can have 2 branches of UNC involved. Let's see. And then I've also been working on just sketching out some little logos if anyone would be interested in that. So
Okay.
I know that you mentioned that you were an artist, and Vicki has her degree in fine arts as well.
Yeah.
And so I know I'm not the only artist. So.
Well, my artistic abilities are in a different light. so graphically, it is not necessarily there. So I appreciate that. But yeah, I'm artistic in another way. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a matter of putting that together and pooling our resources to see what's best. And for some reason, some of the photos that you had sent over, I was not able to see. They came over as an RTF file.
Weird.
Yeah. So if you might be able to just send those over, that would be great.
Okay.
And so, what was the question or any of the focus for our for your time today?
I'd love to jump in with 2 things, if I may.
Yes.
One is, Michelle, if it works for you and if it works for others, perhaps uploading those images into the new Mastermind group on Facebook, now that we're all on Facebook, perhaps that might work easier than emails.
Okay.
And a food for thought for you was that you had mentioned previously about the idea of perhaps we could come up with a promotion of getting people to change their Facebook avatar for Peace Day.
Yes.
And the thought that I came to earlier today was the notion of what if our logo is what it is we're going to be asking people to change their avatar to.
That's kind of the direction I wanted to go in, and Lauren also suggested if it's a logo that somebody might be able to take a piece of, if we can continue with your pattern, or not your pattern, but the patterns of 3s, where we've got, like, instead of a sun in the middle, I could have that Pax Cultura with the 3 dots, 3 doves, 3 olive branches, and then within that there's 3 images of peace, and
nice.
So if, I like patterns too. I like things to tie in, and so we can do that. But if we do that, the trending, there's several different avenues for that as well, and I'm sure that Galen would be very, very good to talk to for this. But Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and all of those different things that people like to do. So those are my SMART goals, is just to get the word out there about Peace Day. My resources are I can't not be creative. So everything that I do, I try to jump in with both feet and just do it the best of my ability and get people excited.
Sure. Thank you. Appreciate that. And so as it relates to that, I mean, there are a number of different ways and there are a number of different strategies. I mean, is there someone, you mentioned Galen is good at social media or something along those lines. I mean, I think it could get very, since social media is such a big piece, is there someone who's going to be specializing on the Twitter side, and someone's going to be focusing in on the Facebook side, I mean, or the YouTube? I mean, there's just a lot of different avenues, and, you know, how are we going to manage that? Because that is not my expertise. And so, again, as we kind of look at that, Michelle, as you're kind of looking at, are you kind of looking at how you can tie in your artistic abilities to make sure that everything looks consistent? Is that what I'm hearing from you?
Yes, I would like to do that. Sort of what's the word? Well, I don't like this term, but quality control,
I think in corporate land we would call it the creative director.
That works.
Okay, cool.
Along the corporate land side, Mark, and to what you're talking about, I've spoken with Lauren about the roles and responsibilities of the fundraiser that we hope to do with UNC, whether it be Asheville and Chapel Hill or just UNCA, but hopefully might work with ASU or other places. And so within that structure, Lauren would mediate the relationship between Michelle and Matthew Rowe, who is our copywriter, conscious capitalist that I'll be bringing up. But within that, then Michelle is our creative director for this mastermind group, as well as in the client role for the relationship with Matthew.
Client role for Matthew. Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay, so that's our time for Michelle. Thank you so much. We'll come back to you for your for the SMART goal. So let's shift over to Ben now for your 7 minutes. So Ben, on your SMART goal, yes or no?
Thank you. The answer would be no, but I've got progress. I had said that I would have a flow for our Peace Day hangout, and I don't have the exact flow, but I did come up with some component parts that I wanted to present to the group. And that is that Michelle and I came to the decision that locally here in Asheville that we will again this year have it at the Asheville Art Museum. And so we need to finalize that with them, simply in the sense of giving them a check. Our previous contact, Layla, has stepped away from the Art Museum as of last week, and there's a new woman named Amanda. And with Michelle's permission, I'll involve her in that conversation and have the three of us get together. Michelle, is that all right that I include you in working with Amanda?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Cool. Then for the show, we talked about having Alan Rosenthal MC it the way that last year, Mark, you MC'd it. And then when in talking with Michelle and talking with others, as well as T-Bone, we have our first media sponsor of the Asheville Flyer, which is a newspaper that comes out monthly with activities for kids. While I don't necessarily want to have specifically a kid focus, I was enjoying the notion of students and celebrating the student in all of us.
I like that.
And so to that end, I saw us having participants that would break down into two major categories: students at schools and students at business. So that, for instance, here in Asheville, I had talked with two people about the work that they do in business that helps spread peace. One is Mark of Hyphen Cafe, who goes to South America to buy coffee from the various villages directly to help provide the highest possible living wage that he can to those groups. And then there's another group called Shoebox that creates tools for kids with autism to learn certain basic tactical elements. And then a third business that came to mind is a group called Green Bridge that's in New England that does hydroponics where they both raise vegetables as well as fish, and all of their employees are people that are autistic. The Within talking about schools, Michelle is at UNCA. We have a commitment from Earth University. At Arizona State University, Professor Pamela Sterling had said that she's willing to present it to her students and imagines that her students would be interested in the fall. She teaches a course on activism and theater. So then earlier Michelle talked about reaching out to Professor Joanne Sciarrino at UNC. It's either Chapel Hill or Raleigh, I forget which. I think it's Chapel Hill. And then we were speaking with Maya about the possibility of kids in a program called AO Music that she's involved with. And then was thinking about other kids in terms of schools. And Michelle, I think that T-Bone had mentioned to us Rainbow School. I can follow up with him or to figure out what that school was that he suggested. I'd love to get some more international schools in addition to Earth University. And I was thinking about reaching out to an educator named Bobby DePorter, who runs a group called Super Camp that has international locations, a summer camp. But I imagine that through her recommendation, we might find some current high school students that would be open to joining us, something along those lines. I'm hoping with this group today, so that's what I had for the SMART goal in terms of the basic flow. So I don't have the full-on flow, but those are the component pieces that are making sense to me. Unless somebody objects, I'll keep playing along these lines and seeing who is excited to say yes and show up. Obviously, if John has some students, John Avery, our mastermind partner from earlier, they would be part of the schools, those types of things. Mm-hmm. There are 3 language choices that I hope we might codify amongst those of us that are on currently. And that is that we've been talking about 3 faces of peace, being inner peace, peace between humans, and peace with nature.
Yes.
And I want to present choices. When workshopping the phrase inner peace, there are a couple people here in Asheville that suggested that we use personal peace because from a Buddhist perspective, there isn't really the distinction between inner and outer.
Okay.
I'm open to either way, but we haven't codified it so far. Would love to codify it now, and perhaps we'd simply check with the 4 of us. Mark, do you have a preference between personal peace or inner peace?
You know, I personally, if I hear that, I think, I mean, I could see it going both ways. I know one of the things that Vicki and I have talked about on a couple different occasions is more of the inner peace, which really does. I mean, it does play to the whole personal piece.
Sure.
But I think the inner piece does go a little deeper. That's
fantastic.
That's my own personal
cool.
thought. But we could, I think.
Let's just check with the others. Lauren, do you have a preference between inner peace and personal peace?
No preference. Either is fine.
Michelle?
I don't either. I think inner
Let's
might
go with
speak
inner peace.
to.
Mark has a preference. I'm sorry to cut you off there. I'm just going quick. Sorry. All right. So we've I think chosen an inner peace between those. Then we've got peace between people, or peace between humans, or social peace. My preference is peace between people.
Yes.
I like that one.
Okay, cool.
Sounds great.
So we've now got peace between people, and then peace with nature, and nobody else really had any other suggestions. So I'm imagining peace with nature is fine unless somebody else has something presently.
I think that's perfect.
Great. Now I'll move on. I've got two more elements, one of which I've actually already covered. So Matthew Rowe is a copywriter, and he is helping us come up with an opt-in page and a system in which we can help engage people on student campuses to celebrate peace with us on Peace Day. In addition, he imagines that we might sell the kids, students on campuses or others, like a Peace Day shirt that would be made out of recycled plastic or industrial hemp or something along those lines. The Peace Day Mastermind will have right of refusal on all of this, but the basic business proposition that I presented to him is that while we will be having this larger fundraising component, who we're raising money for, we haven't locked in on yet, but of the other money that gets generated, 50% would go to the Mastermind partners, which does not include me. It includes you guys. And then 50% of the profits would go to him. That's separate from the fundraising component. And so that's the proposition that I made to him that he said yes to, on the contingency of you guys saying yes here.
I mean, I think at this point there's still a lot of things obviously that we need to figure out, but you know, I think that's more than fair. So, you know, I don't know how much of a discussion, if this is just kind of a yes or no, because again, I just want to throw this out to the group. We're actually have gone over your time, which I'm fine with. I just want to make sure that everyone else is okay with that, just because I know we have a little bit less people on the call today. So we can devote another 2 minutes or so for just the answer. And how does that sound to everyone?
That's fine.
Okay, perfect.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Thank you, Mark, for keeping track of the time and for facilitating our groups. The next notion I had already brought up to Michelle, Matthew, and Lauren, which is the notion that with Lauren's expertise of helping with project management and stuff along those lines, that Lauren will largely be responsible for that relationship with Michelle in the function of the client, and Matthew in the function of freelancer or outside vendor. Putting that aside for a moment, talking about who we want to raise money for, the fundraising element of it. Part of what it seems to me as though everybody has agreement that Veterans for Peace is a great thing to raise money for, a great organization to raise money for. From last year, we had Veterans for Peace playing for change and Peace One Day. What I'm going to suggest for this year is that we have Veterans for Peace, Peace One Day, and then that third fundraiser component is flexible and changes for whoever is mailing or whoever for a third component. So that, for instance, if Arizona State University were to send an email to their list, that a third of the fundraising would go then to ASU.
Is this kind of up for a question at this point?
Yep.
Okay,
yep.
So, you know, I think, again, we just had Memorial Day. It's fantastic. I mean, veterans are absolutely, you know, someone that we definitely owe a lot of our freedom to. The question being, as we look at ultimately other elements here, is if we're bringing a lot of students in, I'm just trying to figure out how does that fit? Because that,
sure.
I mean, that's obviously that's one aspect of it, because that's peace among people, but that doesn't necessarily reflect the other two.
Yep. One element is that for any school that were to email for when the school emails to their own population, then a third of the fundraising would go for that school.
Okay. All right. And so would that be the school of like ASU, or would this be some of the high school students that John's going to be a part of?
It could be any and all of those, any nonprofit. It could be a church.
So we would be able. So we would basically be splitting them among all the schools that are basically the participants of.
The school, if we were to use a tracking mechanism, for instance, like the affiliate kinds of programs that Joe Polish uses, we would know where the money got raised from, and so the money that got raised by a student at a certain school would go to their school. We could have a default or split between something that didn't get tagged or cookied, or we can work out those details. The bigger part of the component puzzle piece was the notion that perhaps we have two that are fixed and the third that be variable for the schools. So like of the two that would be fixed, perhaps those two fixed are Veterans for Peace and Peace One Day, playing into the principles last year of us saying doing one thing locally and doing one thing globally. Yeah. So Veterans for Peace is an American nonprofit, and Peace One Day is a UK nonprofit.
Yeah. I mean, I like the aspects of, and Michelle was talking about this a little bit, and again, I'm just throwing this out there, and please, Mastermind, and we'll have to also move on just to make sure that we can fit everyone in here. We have a lot of things that we're trying to tackle, but even taking a look at it from the three levels of peace, we have the Veterans for Peace, the peace among people. We have the inner peace. So what aspect and what element we want to focus on for that, and then the peace among nature, kind of tying all those things together in some way of how would we be able to contribute to each of those causes. So that's just a thought. Anyone else can obviously jump in there as well.
One of my ideas was just piggybacking on Ben saying, have two that we all agree on, and then, but I was thinking maybe wherever our points are, as far as Asheville, Florida, Arizona, I think Maya's friend is in Vancouver, possibly, I can't remember, that we would just use a third of it for whatever we locally decided on.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Third local.
I think the biggest learning is that we haven't finalized it presently, and it's something that we need to figure out the components of. And grateful for this input, and I love the idea of the local part, Michelle. I think that making it local for whoever's promoting it is part of how we'll get people to promote it.
Wonderful. Okay.
If I understood you.
Great. All right. Well, thank you for that, and I think that was definitely a lot more that we were able to cover over. So thank you. So Lauren, how about you? You're up.
I have not finished my SMART goal, but it's okay. We'll tell you why here. My SMART goal was to solicit involvement for Luna Guitars, and what they did is just last week they launched their Instruments for Peace initiative. And so far, 4 people have signed up on the site. And I've been talking to Ben about this, and we agreed that having Matthew, who has that skill with sales copywriting. Matthew, is that correct, Ben? Well, that said, what we've got is we'll have whoever's going to do the copywriting can put together something, and we can post their page. We can be an instrument for change as Peace on Us. We have to have something to post there, and it becomes part of their tribe page. So as their traffic is looking at it, we have a chance to solicit more interest from them, as well as approaching Luna Guitars about giving 1 or more instruments for fundraising. We've talked about a range of those items. So one of the goals that I'll have this week is once Matthew posts to Luna Guitars page, then I'll make another appeal to the decision makers for involvement now that we're involved in their tribe as well, and working on their website information, see what they'll do for us.
I think that's a great way. Fantastic. I think that's a great way to really capture and really embody another organization that already has a lot of people that are tracking towards something that we really believe in here as a group. Instead of us trying to create our own train, it's something that I've heard other people speak to, like Evan Pagan. He said, join a ongoing fast train instead of trying to build the tracks yourself and doing all those sorts of things. So great idea.
Good.
So what would you like to focus on today?
Well, let me bring up
the group.
There's one other part that I brought up, and focusing on today. I got a chance to present to my fraternity, and they're members of Florida Institute of Technology here in Palm Bay, Florida, and we've talked about ASU, we've talked about UNCA, as well as having the event at Asheville. I believe is going to have students online. Again, it's the undercurrents of youth will be online discussing what peace means to them or whatever format, and they showed interest in participating with undergraduate students in doing that. What I need to do is get them some more information about what's involved, and like Michelle said, I need to garner a little more excitement. So hopefully that will give us another school that might even be a possibility for emailing their student body, whether we end up with a fundraiser for guitars or an instrument apiece or t-shirts, whatever that is. That would be another venue for people who clearly will be, I mean, we've just got to identify the peace workers in that population. And so what I want to do is have the group tell me more about how I can put information during the summertime in most of the students' minds to get them excited, and what can they do? Give them specifics so that I can gain commitments from them on, yes, we'd be interested in participating in.
It's a great question. Okay. Michelle, Ben, do you have any ideas?
Thank you. Yes, I think that one of the elements I know that has lit up, for instance, Professor Pamela Sterling, was the idea about students being able to talk with each other about peace on Peace Day. And how we got Earth University last year was asking that they have two students who sit side by side that shared a 3-minute slot talking about what peace meant to them. So perhaps a member of the fraternity, as well as perhaps a member of a different member of a sorority or something, but if perhaps you could get two students from Florida Institute of Technology that would be excited to be connecting and talking with other students on Peace Day. If we get the students committing to being live with us at 11:30 on Peace Day, then we have the door open to the campus to perhaps do other things. How does that sound or feel?
That sounds great. That's a specific actionable item, and I think that'd be a lot of fun. Are there any other ideas?
Michelle, do you have any thoughts? Not put you on the spot or anything.
No, I was just thinking about what Ben had originally brought at the very beginning and talking about the pledge drive for 2020. And this is something that could actually lead into that. I know it's a long way from now, but, you know, hindsight is 2020, right? And so we can start now with the pledge drive. If that's something that we could move forward with eventually, that would be interesting. And then I was sorry, my brain was going too fast to process it all, but I was also thinking about what John was saying about having the mediation and, you know, possibly a booth set up for children to learn more, and this is something that Ben was interested in too, is the nonviolent communication. So I don't really have anything concrete in my head about that yet, but those were just my thoughts on what y'all were talking about.
That's good. I think helping identify the types of things at the first concrete event we have, which is in Asheville, any opportunity we have where youth or students could be involved, whether they're watching, participating in, or even learning from, if that booth, for instance, is actually recording some of it and putting it live, or again, people might be able to do reflective listening right on their own, or practicing side by side as someone might be coaching them along. As those types of details are worked out, that would be great to be able to share with students, because peace among people is something that I can see them very focused on, as well as sharing. You talked about trending with the avatars and spreading the news. I like the pledge for 2020, but even what are you going to do for this Peace Day? Asking students to tell others and share others what they're doing. We talked about reminding people it's on September 21st. So well before that, during the summer, I'd hope people would say, this is what I'm going to be doing on September 21st, and sharing that through their social connections. It'll be very natural with that particular age group.
Yeah.
What if we asked everybody just to have 3 small goals to have completed by Peace Day? You know, their own personal pledges, 3 of them. And, you know, on Peace Day, that under the avatar, that's what they say that they've done.
I love that idea, and if I could just add, we're almost out of time here, but something that I love the ideas here, and one of the things, again, from the pattern perspective, it's taking a look at the 3 aspects of peace that we're looking at, theming it up until then. So if we take a look back from September, you know, maybe that's the Peace Day or Peace Among Nature. The August is around peace among people, and then July is peace, you know, inner peace. So just kind of building on that as we approach the September 21st, and then just having that as those 3 goals. What you've heard a little bit more about each of those elements. How can we make sure that that is actually, you know, one of the actionable items of, you've heard some of the other people, what will you do on September 21st, kind of sort of thing.
Exactly. Okay.
I like that idea.
We don't want to run out of time for yours.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Well, thank you for that. Yes. So, all right. Perfect. Thank you, Lauren. We'll come back to the SMART goals here shortly. So I'm going to put myself on a timer here. So the answer to my SMART goal is no. I have started, and I had a conversation with Ben here in between as we were looking at the goals, and there's a number of goals here of really putting all these things together. So it's going to continue, and that will be something else that I will continue to work towards, is getting all of these things together of, you know, our actionable items and the right people in the right roles, and making sure that not only are we putting this assembly together, but also that we're having people that are engaged with it, that are able to then spread it out there, because that is not my skill set, and I know that that's some other skill sets. So I would just look at, you know, how can we continue to, you know, for the group today is, you know, there's a lot of focus on making sure that this is a great event. But along the same lines of scalability and making it an opportunity of other people being engaged with it, and finding more of those opportunities out there that where engaging people are, and where they're engaged in this type of interest. That's really what I'm interested in today, is how can we find more of those opportunities, whether that be through the universities and things of that nature, but to really be able to you know, harness this and really make this not just a September 21st thing, but also, you know, an ongoing thing for people to look at and reflect at, as, okay, from the peace perspective, how can I work on my inner peace today, and work on that over the next 30 days? How can I work on, you know, peace among people for the next 30 days? How can I work on the peace among nature for the next 30 days? So there's 2 questions in there. The first question is, you know, what are some other groups that we might be able to find to connect to?
Okay.
And the next is, how can we make sure that there's that ongoing, you know, beyond Peace Day, the next steps beyond that? Thinking 2 steps ahead, Ben.
To answer your first question around the idea of people that are already playing with peace, fantastic question. Love the idea of Eben Pagan's ideas and others amongst. Find out where the train is already there. When I see peace-related products like Annie's pastas or Peace Tea or things along those lines, I've been reaching out to them and have gotten polite things along the lines of every day is Peace Day and those kinds of elements. I'm grateful that Luna Guitars this year is actually doing something formal. Last year when we spoke with them, they were saying that they were fans of peace, and this year they're actually formally doing something. So thrilled to see that deepening engagement. In terms of getting people extended beyond, I go back to this notion of the pledge drive, which Michelle suggested that I might go check out the Pay It Forward meetup group here in Asheville. And the thing that resonated the most and best with them was the idea of the pledge drive. I hope that Matthew can find a way that an email and an opt-in page with some sort of pledge drive can feel compelling and exciting. Because to me, the idea of the pledge drive feels like it has some of the biggest legs. It also made sense with Galen. To me, I have more of an interest on focusing on the 1 week of Peace Day. I'm most interested in us making the most of September 14th through September 21st.
Mm-hmm.
That the idea about spending a month of August of celebrating inner peace or those kinds of elements, I'm concerned about us diffusing our efforts. And it's like my biggest interest is, first, what are we going to do for that 1 hour that we're going to have people interconnected online?
Mm-hmm.
And then the second question is, how are we going to get visitors at home and other places to join us? So that's my take.
Thank you. That's well, good perspective.
The pledge drive is a shareable thing. It's something that, as we're sharing, I would suggest getting something up and going would be awesome, because you can start seeing who's connecting, who's posting, especially if we're using a common hashtag. So, Mark, to answer that, I would want to be getting some forward momentum on that so people can be talking about it well beforehand, and that we can look at the types of groups and individuals, right, and the groups that they participate in, especially on something like Facebook, etc., where we can peek at those things. We'd have the opportunity to really, sorry about that, pick and choose the ones that really seem to resonate or have tribes that are already excited or talking about this, and then try to plug in.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is getting the logo and we talked a little bit about T-shirts, we've batted around, it hasn't gone in a firm direction yet, but that's something, again, wearable and shareable. So you have the ability, if it's even done early, along with the avatar, for people to start taking photos, sharing photos, and other individuals to either raise their hands. Sometimes, I want to do that, I want to be involved, how am I involved? At some point, there's got to be a landing page or the full focus of what peaceonus.us will go to, and that's an area where I know I'm not quite answering how do we identify, but how can we help others identify to us? Yeah,
I think that's great, and I look at thank you, that's a great perspective, and the Holstee Manifesto. I don't know if anyone's come across Holstee, HOLSTEE.com. They have a manifesto. They basically all sat down together and they were working at these corporate jobs, and they just were not excited about what they were doing, and they said, what do we believe? And they put down the Holstee Manifesto, and it's on their site. You could find the manifesto, and it's almost like us kind of identifying what is that we believe as well, and putting that down on a sheet of paper that people can at least see. Because as you talk about tribes, Seth Godin is talking about tribes, and it just seems as though there's a whole lot more people speaking. Yeah, I just saw him speak at an Icon event here. He's a fantastic speaker, and he's talking about tribes. And so many people are talking about tribes, and and it's not about, it's really what is it as a tribe that I want to believe. So wow, 7 minutes go fast. Jeez, the timer just went by. So thank you very much. So I will politely say thank you for everyone, and also cut myself off at the same time. so we have an opportunity to get to the SMART goals of everyone. So we'll start with you, Michelle. What would you like to commit to for your SMART goal?
Well, I'm going to write a one-page invitation/proposal that I can email to businesses that are around here to drum up excitement and get them involved.
Okay.
I kind of have a flair for writing, and I don't mind doing it at all. I already have one that I've just need to tweak a little that I wanted to send to the artist. I'm also going to do 3 logo mock-ups and see what y'all think about them. And then I'd also would like to write a video script for a peace pledge drive for YouTube. If I can just come up with something, and if it's just the faces of peace, and we just have somebody, whoever it is, sit down and for less than 30 seconds, my pledges for peace are 1, 2, 3, and then it can go. put it on YouTube, whatever we want to do, and just something very small, just a small video script, and see what we can do with that.
Perfect. Okay, thank you very much. Ben. Hello, Ben.
Thank you. Sorry, it took a moment. One of my SMART goals is going to be to email Professor Joanne Sherino and introduce her to Michelle. Another SMART goal is going to be to have 2 more yeses in terms of those that are willing to not just participate on September 21st, but champion September 21st out there through their media. So those are my 2 SMART goals presently.
Okay. Fantastic. Lauren.
My SMART goal is to have us listed on the Instruments for Peace at Luna's site to sign up and support their efforts and have something that would resonate with their tribe, as well as talk about what's important to us. And the second SMART goal I have is I will reach out to leaders at Florida Institute of Technology and work to secure at least 2, if not more, that will participate online with the Asheville event.
Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. Love that. And then I am going to say that I'm going to complete and finish more of the goals overall of where we can be going based off of some more of the feedback here, based off of everyone's input, along with. So I don't know if that will be completed as far as I need to basically identify. Let me identify 4 specific goals based off of some of the feedback that I've received so far. And then I also would like to kind of just give a general idea of what do I believe about peace, and just kind of use that as a jumping off point for something that we could use as a group of everyone who's involved in the Mastermind group. And that could be something that we even put up on our page there, as we all say, this is what we believe as a group, and see where there's overlap and how that all blends together. So those are the things that I'm committing to. So thank you, everyone, today. So we're just going to finish off with the just thanking everyone for their participation today, and then we'll just finish up with, I now have a covenant in which it is agreed that the Mastermind shall supply me with an abundance of all things necessary to live a success-filled and happy life. I dedicate myself to be of maximum service to God, to live in a manner that will set the highest example for others to follow, and to remain an open channel. I go forth with a spirit of enthusiasm, excitement, and expectancy. So thank you, everyone, and we are just finishing up on time, so thank you for everyone being on the call right on time, and this is fantastic. I'm looking forward to each and every single one of these, getting closer and closer to September 21st, and peace on us.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Peace on us. Thank you.
Peace on us.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.